So today what we're going to go ahead and talk about is we are going to go ahead and talk about the LifeCourse framework. A lot of you folks have been hearing about the LifeCourse framework. What is it? You've heard DDD talk about it. You may have heard it in some of your IEP meetings. But today what we wanted to do is we wanted to go ahead and provide you folks, our stakeholders, with a broad overview of what the LifeCourse framework is, and pretty much how you can use it to adopt it to whatever situation you are in. Next, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the guiding principles of the LifeCourse framework, and even just the foundational principles of what person-centered planning is. Then we're going to go ahead and talk about the life stages and the trajectory. And then last but not least, we're going to go ahead and have some questions. So if you can go ahead and check in the chat, I included a PowerPoint slide, a PDF version of today's PowerPoint slide. However, it is not available online just yet. When this presentation is archived and available, then all of the handouts will be available online on our website. And then I'll go ahead and show you where we can go ahead and access all of those resources from our DDD First Tuesdays training series. So once again, thank you so much for joining us on our very first DDD First Tuesday training series. All right, so let's talk about LifeCourse. So the basic foundational principle about what LifeCourse is that all people have the right to live, love, work, play, and pursue their dreams in the community, right? After so long of being away from the community, we found that individuals with a disability have the same rights as much as we do. And this is what the LifeCourse framework is all about. It's coming back to, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that everyone, disability or not, has the same rights to live, love, and work and play where they live. So when we're talking about the LifeCourse principles, the LifeCourse principles has 8 different principles that has come together from a group of families. So the LifeCourse framework actually came from a Wingspread report in 2011. In which families across the nation in our family-to-family support groups came together to create a research project to determine how can we support families a lot better, right? We're not saying this is a new way of doing things, but what we're saying is with the LifeCourse framework, it definitely provides a lot of benefits to having a more fruitful conversation and to help explore conversations that typically we've never had before. So again, the LifeCourse framework has 8 guiding principles. In this part 1 of the workshop, we're going to go ahead and talk about the life stages and trajectory. And in our part 2 session of our overview, we're going to dive deeper into some of the other principles that you see here on your screen. But first off, let's go ahead and go over the quick 8 and talk about these guiding principles. So guiding principle number 1 is that what this LifeCourse framework is that it supports all people. In 2015, there was a study in which they identified 4.9 million people in America that had a developmental disability. But realistically, only 25%, which you see on your screen, the green little triangle, only 25% of them were receiving services from the state agency. And realistically, the 75% were not aware of the disability services, were not eligible, and quite frankly, we're still being supported by natural supports. So with the Supporting Families framework, we've identified and made sure that the guiding principles not only apply to those receiving services from a state agency, but it also supports everyone. Guiding principle number 2 is that we have family systems, and with the life cycle, we also have a cycle for our families. So we believe that the individual exists within the context of the family. The family is identified by the individual themselves, but it could be defined as, their adult foster home caregivers. They could be defined as living with their sister or even their parents if they're still alive. But at the end of the day, we still recognize that we support the person as well as we support the family that they live in. with life, right? There's birth to death. And then there's also the same cycle that we have for families. And with the supporting families framework, we acknowledge that family supports look different in the different type of stage that you're in, whether you're a baby and you're surrounded by family members, or whether you're an aging adult and realistically none of your family members are left. We acknowledge that supporting families and supporting the individual can occur across the lifespan and across different family and individual life cycles. Supporting families framework guiding principle number 3 is that we look for or move towards life outcomes. This is where over the years, we're changing our focus. We're shifting from the typical custodial care, health outcomes, and making sure that individuals have the opportunity to live, love, and work and play in the community, have life outcomes that are same as you and I. This practice is available at our line level, as well as we're moving towards changing the system and making sure that all these life outcomes are supported across the lifespan. Our 4th guiding principle is life domains. So many of you folks continue to look out for your loved ones and look out for their safety and security. But with the LifeCourse framework, we expand that knowledge into 5 other different types of life domains. We have life domains that talk about the daily life and employment. We have life domains that talk about the community living where you live. We have another life domain that talks about social and spirituality. Here is our healthy living, right? This is where we're always making sure we're looking for everyone's health and safety. We have safety and security, and also with citizenship and advocacy. With the 6 life domains that you see on your screen, this is where we challenge ourselves to look beyond keeping everyone healthy and safe, but we want to make sure that we plan for the different dimensions that life provides us. Our 5th guiding principle is our life stages and trajectory. So this is where a lot of the times you hear, right? We're having a trajectory, we're shooting up, and realistically, these trajectories or this positive path that we want to be on occurs from as little as prenatal and infancy stage and goes all the way up to those who are aging. This life stages and trajectory, we want to make sure that we continue to focus on having a positive trajectory, no matter what life stage that you're in. All right, so remember what I mentioned earlier about focusing on the life experiences and the different life stages. So here is some information that provides you with information on how we can make sure we focus on life experiences, no matter the life stage that you're in. All right. The 6th guiding principle is for individual and family supports. So when we support our families look for support in 3 different buckets. And this is what we call the buckets of support, right? When they talk about filling your bucket, right? Filling your soul, we want to make sure that we provide support and to our families through discovery and navigation. Maybe they're just looking for a resource out there. Maybe they're looking for some type of curriculum or even a flyer. Sometimes families come for the type of support of connecting and networking. They want to know that, hey, they're not alone in this struggle and they just need to be supported with other family members. And last but not least, the type of support that we provide with the Supporting Families framework is to make sure that we provide services through the goods and services bucket. Okay. Our 7th guiding principle with the LifeCourse framework is talking about the integrated delivery of supports. So when we are looking at the different supports that one may have, it's tend to be divided between natural or paid support. But what this integrated support star is we show you that these types of supports can come in different forms, not just within a PAB worker, but we have support in technology. We have support in personal skills and assets. There are supports within the community. There are supports with the relationship and the people that are around us. And last but not least, that green part of the star is the eligibility specific supports. Okay, I'm almost done. Last guiding principle is this is where we have our policy and systems. Guiding principle number 8. So with the supporting families framework, this is where we build on how we wanted to make sure that we change these practices at the line level, as well as within the community ourselves and within the public. So if you take a look at what the public health framework is what the public health framework is, we look to support those that are eligible, right? That green triangle. We look to support a bigger community, the purple part next to that triangle. And last but not least, making a larger triangle is supporting this type of framework, this type of mindset and principles within the community and all of society. Okay, right? How good would it be if we're all talking the same language? When we transition from high school into a system like DDD, right? We all have this same universal strategy to assist and make sure we support our families. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the evolving supports. Typically with history, right, the person has always been in the context of their family. So we're looking at this first set of circles that came on your screen, right? The person lives within their family and then they live in their community. But with best intentions, right, institutionalization happened and the services were wrapped around the person and inadvertently cut them off from their family and their community. With supporting services evolving over time due to legislation, right, due to ethics, and due to even just reform at the national level, we truly believe that the supports are no longer wrapped around the person, but at the end of the day, these supports integrated throughout the community, family, as well as the person. So let's go ahead and talk about our person-centered approaches. When we are looking to support families in Hawaii, we want to make sure that we as a system, we as people living here, and we as people just supporting those that receive services, we want to make sure that our families are supported with a strong foundation to make sure they support not only themselves, but other people in their family across the lifespan. So, right, I kind of went through really quickly about the supporting families framework and its guiding principles. So with the 8 different principles that we have, just to kind of get back to bare bones as to what person-centered planning is, we always want to look at what is important. What's important for the person, what's important to me. Importance always remains supreme when it comes to the individual. But specifically when we're looking at the things that are important, what we are about to look at is we're about to look at concepts that are important to and important for the person. So some of you folks may have heard these terms, but for those of you folks who don't, when we are talking about the difference between important to and for, it's not about having one or the other. It's about solely making sure that we can respect the balance between the two concepts. So when we're looking at important to, right? So these are family matters. These are what truly matters to the person, their perspective, how they feel, their routine, things they enjoy doing, right? Things that make them happy. Those are aspects that we look for important to the person, okay? On the flip side of that, we have things that are important for the person. So, right, when we're supporting someone that has medical needs, this is when we're talking about things that are important to them, to their health, right? To making sure that they take their medications on time, making sure that we go to the doctor yearly, making sure that we address that cavity that's in the back of your mouth that's going to turn into a root canal, right? We want to make sure that we address things that are important for a person while also making sure that we respect things that are important to them, right? It's about respect. It's about making sure that things are provided within a person-centered context, okay? So here are some quick examples about what the difference is between important to and for, okay? So if we take a look at this table we have, right? On the left-hand side, you're going to see things that are important to them. So this could be values, this could be their mom, this could be making sure that I leave the house on my time. This is making sure that I go to the places that I like going. Ensuring that I go to church every Sunday, whether it's in person or on Zoom. And just making sure that I have things that I like. Like for me personally, I like to go shopping all the time. Don't tell my husband, but that's things that are important to me, right? So things that are important for me include things that are pertain to my health, pertain to my safety, making sure that I have these experiences and making sure that at the end of the day, we want to make sure that important for and important to are balanced. So we are going to go ahead and do a quick activity to see if we all kind of can grasp what important to and important for is. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and flash some scenarios that you see on your screen. It might be tricky because you folks are going to find that there are some concepts that can be a little bit of both. And at the end of the day, it's important to you. Okay, so Cliff, can you go ahead and run the first poll for me, if you don't mind? So first we had, if it is never feeling rushed. So if the feeling of never feeling rushed, is this important to you or important for you? We're going to give you folks a quick minute to fill it out. Oh, we see all your responses coming in, right? We see all of them coming in. All right, so now we have, Cliff, if you could go ahead and end the poll and then let's go ahead and check out the results. All right, so we have about 73% of you folks felt that never feeling rushed is important to you. Thank you. All right. Next one we have is one-on-one conversations, right? This is someone who values talking to people, making sure that when we're talking to each other, our phones are down. And we want to make sure that these one-on-one conversations are very important. So let's go ahead and run the poll and see what we got. Do you folks think that this is important to you or important for you? So we'll give you folks a quick minute. All right, Cliff, what are some of our results? Oh, this is about a good 50-50. So we have those feel that these one-on-one conversations are definitely important to you. And the other half of our group feel that it's important for you, right? Because it could be both, right? For your mental health, it's important that you have these one-on-one conversations, right? So very good. Let's go ahead and check out our next scenario we see. This is taking our medications daily. So for those of you folks who are caregivers on here, right, it's very important we provide medications daily. So is this important to or important for a person? We'll give you folks a quick minute to go ahead and take a look if you folks think it's important to or important for you. All right, Cliff, what are our results? All right, everyone here is sharing 82%. Look at that. It's important for you to take your medications daily. All right. Next up, we have this. How many of you folks are this? Not having to wait. Like you absolutely hate waiting. This is your pet peeve. This is my husband right here. He hates waiting. So it's important to him that I hurry up when I go shopping? Or is it important for me that I hurry up and so I don't keep him waiting? All right. So Cliff, let's go ahead and take a look at the poll. Yeah. A lot of people say that it's important to someone, right? Then we have the other 24% that identified with me, right? It's important for you to hurry up, but you keep the husband waiting. All right, here's another one. Being able to trust others. What do you folks think this is? Important to you or important for you? All right, Cliff, what we got? Oh, this one too, another 50-50, right? To some people, being able to trust others is definitely something that is important for them, especially if we're learning to build relationships. All right, here's one that could be both too, right? Visits from parents. Important to you or important for you? We'll give you folks 3 more seconds to complete and get your submissions in. I know it's going kind of fast, but we want to make sure that everyone gets their submissions in. All right, here we go. Important too is comes up on top with visits from parents. Yes. All right, here we go. Eating healthy. How many of you folks failed on your New Year's resolutions of eating healthy? Is it important to you that you keep your New Year's resolution, or is it important for you? Let's go ahead and give you folks a quick second. All right, we got a lot of people important for you. That's correct, right? Again, it all depends on the person and it all depends on the situation we're in. For some of us, it's more important to us that we stay committed to our goals. But for others, it's very important for us that we eat healthy so we can maintain our cholesterol, so we are no longer we can maintain a healthy BMI, right? It all depends on the person. Oh, this one, how about charting our bowels daily? Is it important to you or important for you to chart your bowels? I know it seems kind of silly, right? What? Charting your bowels? Oh, Lord. But to some, believe it or not, it's actually extremely important for them to make sure that we have accurate documentation of their bowel movements. All right. Okay, so that was important to and important for. So next we are going to go ahead and talk about the life stages and trajectory. Oops. Oh, my computer has a mind of its own. Okay, so again, back to our guiding principles, and we are specifically going to focus on the life stages and trajectory. So when we are talking about life stages can apply to everyone. And when we're talking about this good life, we're constantly, when we're looking at the life course framework, we're constantly going back to this golden question: what is a good life? When we're looking at the guiding principles, we find that this guiding principle helps us to take a look at what truly does a good life look like. When we're talking about the good life, we are talking this in terms of a trajectory, right? So if you're looking at by definition, right, trajectory starts from beginning and end. There's always a beginning point and then an end point, right? When we're flying our airplane, we always want to make sure that we go up, but realistically, sometimes eventually the trajectory goes down. Okay, but when we are looking at the life stages and the trajectory within the concepts of the guiding principles of the life course framework, is when we are going towards, in a positive trajectory, it's going towards positive outcomes. When it's going towards the bottom and sinking south, then those are things that are unwanted in our lives. And those are things of what we don't want in life. And we always want to make sure that we continue to make sure our trajectory, it goes in the upward trajectory, and talking about that vision for a good life. Okay. But realistically, life isn't as always a straight arrow, right? When we are going through life, sometimes it happens. We deal with loss inadvertently. Sometimes we deal with things that we don't want. But the beauty of life and being able to rebound from it is to making sure that we see these transitions through life, right? There's death in the family across the lifespan. We get our first job, but sometimes it happens that we get laid off. And then a good thing on our positive trajectory is getting married, right? There are all these different life experiences across the life stages that we want to make sure that if we're experiencing a bad life decision, a bad life experience, we always have that ability to auto correct and make sure that we are constantly heading towards our vision for a good life. Okay, so right, similar to what I mentioned about before, no matter the situation, we always want to make sure as much as possible, we shoot for the stars. We shoot for things that are on the positive trajectory and focus on the life experiences and moving on to that next stage as we transition. All right. So in a nutshell, this short overview provides you with information about what the LifeCourse framework is. The LifeCourse framework always starts with the person, and the person is always person-centered and in the middle of the context of a family. When we're supporting our families, we want to make sure that we support them in the various life domains, including daily life and employment, social and spirituality, safety and security, community living, healthy living, and citizenship and advocacy. Amongst these life domains, we support families in 3 different buckets. These buckets of support are discovery and navigation, connecting and networking, and goods and services. When we're supporting families and we're supporting individuals, we want to make sure that these supports are integrated in different types of supports across a positive trajectory, and this type of support exists across the lifespan. Okay, so I'd like to thank you folks for coming today. And this was our short overview of what the LifeCourse framework is. We needed to make sure that we actually have a full presentation, but for our first Tuesday's training series, it was really important for us to split them up into 2 different parts. So again, we just summarize our part 1. If you would like to attend part 2, it will be happening in October. Our October session is going to be the continuation of this presentation. So if you don't mind,